Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Dungeon World Wednesdays. This is episode 1, and this is our third time trying to start the cast, but that's okay, because here we are, and we are all ready. So, as this is the first episode, I'm going to go ahead and explain to you all what Dungeon World is. Dungeon World is a role-playing system, similar to, say, Dungeons & Dragons. It's much simpler. Everything is, like, all challenges, so to say, like let's say you want to jump across a giant chasm, or you want to climb up a rope, or you just want to try to seduce the tavern wench. Everything is a 2d6. Two six-sided dice, like you can find that in, like, a game of Monopoly, right? So, and then, of course, damage dice, you get all some weird dice, but we don't really worry about those. The idea is that it's a much simpler role-playing system. You spend less time worrying about the rules and more about the story and what's actually happening. So, without further ado, let's get introductions out of the way. So I am Ninja Moomin. If this is the first video you're watching of me, well, then that's interesting, but I'll take it. Thank you for watching. I am a streamer and a student. I currently work at the college. I'm sort of like an event guy, right? I like run events and stuff like that, but that's not really that interesting. Long story short, I stream all sorts of stuff, retro, modern games. And I've been role-playing with these guys for, like, what seems like forever. Like, more than half my life, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
Since at least sophomore year.
I roleplay with some of these people earlier than that, like back when I was like 12 or 13, I think was my first roleplay down at the good old Citadel. It's our little local game shop. So I'm gonna say we're just gonna go like across on the bottom here, on the bottom of the Dungeon World screen, on my Dungeon World screen. So let's go with Kluzik next. Kluzik.
Hi, so you guys might know me as Kluzik. I stream on the Nostalgic Nights and play Kadelka and stupid Suikoden games or something like that. I'm also that dude who did one run of Earthbound on my own channel. That's the only thing that's there. And should we introduce our characters?
Yes, please, by all means. Go ahead and introduce your character and who you're playing and what their deal is.
Yeah, so for some reason, I always play female characters for God knows why. But my character is Luna, the cleric. I am a cleric of the Enduring Light, who is the god of the forgotten and the downtrodden, who seek to elevate people and their station in the world through suffering and atonement. I have a sordid, mysterious past that I keep from everyone else, and I heal people.
And there you have it. That is Luna. Alright, so that gives you an idea of our party's healer. An interesting one, eccentric, but she's certainly... why don't you introduce your companion as well? She is also a very important character, or shall I?
Oh, why don't you go ahead and introduce her?
So, Luna, in our previous campaign, some of you who were when I streamed our previous campaign, which we call the Dragon Wars, or the Last Dragon War rather, there was a character named Luna. She was an NPC. She was the younger sister of one of the PCs, which was played by Kluzik. So she had a standard typical D&D formulaic party, right? She was the cleric, she had a thief partner, a fighter partner, who is Alessa here, short for Alessandra, and the mage. The mage was Winnock, and the thief was Matthias. And the thief and the mage did pass away during the events of the last campaign, saving the lives of the party. The only person who survived was Alessa, who Luna journeyed with, and along their way, they've encountered all sorts of horrors and undead and such. It's very important to note that Luna and Alessa are very battered and scarred. They're not very pretty-looking ladies, especially Alessa, who only has one arm. But that does not stop her from carrying a giant sword, which she protects Luna and stands by her side.
Luna also only has one eye. Although the portraits don't really do it justice.
No, we'll be editing. Just a side note, we'll be editing the portraits over the week as we sort of just get the details of the characters done, and then we'll be go ahead and editing and messing with the graphics. This is actually the first day we step back in Roll20 since the last campaign, so we're still doing a little tweaking here. Okay, next let's introduce Schlesinger. If he's there.
Well, yeah, I'm Schlesinger. Don't really do all that much of anything, but my character here is Athrogate, this dwarven fighter, big burly of man who, in fact, has a larger portrait than anybody else.
I mean, he is a dwarf.
But in his past, he was, which really nobody else knows about, but he was banished from the dwarven lands of the Undermountain because of his lack of desire to fight the carnivorous plants.
Yes,
which therefore also led to the death of his wife and child.
Yes, it is important to note that the dwarves, they sort of live under a mountain.
That's under a mountain.
That's under a mountain, right? And it's sort of similar to like Dragon Age in a way, like their whole underground city and how they like kind of stay away from the surface, and surfacers aren't generally allowed. Except instead of fighting, you know, zombies and demons and whatnot, they get to fight giant carnivorous plants. Good times, good times. But yes, what is as a fighter, as a dwarven fighter, what is your signature weapon?
Well, he, unlike most fighters actually, he likes to dual wield some fairly heavy flails.
Yes, he's certainly done a bit of smashing with them, quite a bit. Not to mention, I think recently, before we started the session, you have imbued it with the spirit of a magic weapon.
Wrath the Fortress.
Yes,
I
the
believe
spirit named Wrath the Fortress. And you don't exactly know what the spirit does, or what the magical power does, you just decide to take a gamble on it, so that should be interesting when we discover together
It'll be fun.
Just what that imbuing has done to your weapon. Moving on, we have Miss S, who is also known as Kaikyo2.
I'm next.
Yes, you are next. If you were...
I'm here. I've been typing otherwise.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. Kai here. You may remember me as the unkillable badass from Final Fantasy I who died in final battle. Hawk from the last Dungeon World. And now I'm Miss S. A thief? Yeah, thief. This is not rogue in this system for some reason. Am I coming through okay? Just,
Yep, we can hear you all right.
But we can hear you.
I'm a thief. And I don't steal things as much as I talk at things. I'm one of those fancy charisma talky thieves. As for why I'm traveling with the party, well, no one really knows. At this point, not even my character for now. And I poke things in the back really hard with a rapier.
You do like stabbing things in the back with your rapier. It is true.
Yeah.
All right, so that's and that's Shank here. The character says Shank because that was the original idea, the original name that was planned. But she likes to go by Miss S because Shank is kind of like, has some
People are
negative
uncomfortable
connotations to
around the
it.
name.
Yeah. All right. Next we have Korayu.
Hi, I'm Karayu. Gee, I don't know what anyone would know me from, or I don't really do much either.
You've been in our streams though. People have probably seen you in either my stream or the Nostalgic Nights.
That's true.
You are one of our mods.
And back in the day, I used to speed run Blast Core.
Good times, good times.
And I play San von Hostenrun.
Which this character is interesting because we haven't actually seen this character in action yet. So we actually have a lot to learn about him. What can you tell us about his background?
Well, the basis is he's a fallen knight who failed to protect his kingdom, which was swallowed up by a giant empire in some land that's far away from where we are right now. And he's had to go into hiding because pretty much everyone wants to kill him, both the empire that took over his kingdom because they see him as a threat, and his own people that see that he's a failure to, protect the kingdom and whatnot. And so he has gone into hiding in woods, mountains, deserts, anywhere where there's no civilization. And he's been doing that for a good decade or so, traveling farther and farther away from his homeland to escape whoever wants to get him. And so he no longer wields armor and broadswords or any of that stuff. He's now a ranger with a bow and arrow, and has come accustomed to solitaire. What's
Solitude.
Solitude.
solitude? That's the word I'm looking for. Solitude in the wild.
All right.
Oh, and he has a wolf named Fenrir.
Oh, puppy.
That makes me sad because the actor who played Fenrir died recently.
Better than
That's
a hawk
a
named Hockey.
Better
very
than a hawk
random
named
fact.
Hockey.
In the party with Hawk.
Yes, in the party with Hawk. Hawk named Hockey partying with the guy named Hawk. Yeah.
Didn't he eventually become a Rocky?
Yes.
He did become a rock named Hockey. In a party with a man named Hawk. But nonetheless, we digress. Last but not least, we have Evizard, who you all are very familiar with, I'm sure. But introduce yourself.
Hello, this is Evizard. For those of you who've been watching the stream, I'm a frequent commentator here on Ninja Moomin, and I'm one of these streamers on Nostalgic Nights. Right now, I'm currently working my way through Might and Magic 7. I generally don't know a lot of the games while we play on there. I'm usually going through. It's usually my first time experiencing them.
He had a sheltered childhood. It's cool though.
So my character is named Pierre. He was sent away to a magical academy when he was a young child. He recently graduated and has now returned to his homeland and is trying to improve the lot of the people here that have been devastated by war. And if they want to shower him with praise, that's fine too.
Yes. A young wizard lad seeking out to do good, and if he can get recognized for it, by all means, he'll take it. He'll take the recognition. Okay, so that was everyone. Now, we've done a few adventures recently, but none of that is too relevant. We've sort of come upon a situation that has become the more dire immediate threat at this time. The fact that Kai isn't RPing as himself disturbs me.
Well, I was Hawk last time, which is basically what Kai would have been.
Right. You did play the warrior archetype, so now it's time to do something different.
I missed out on a chance to play a thief one time. I wanted to fix that.
Yes. So here you are doing so. Luna, as we mentioned, is the younger sister of another character named Merlin. However, the both of them have a younger sister yet, named Lyrica. And as it turns out, Lyrica has been kidnapped by an enemy that Merlin had made long ago, a necromancer by the name of Jorah. The necromancer claims that the safety of Luna's sister is for the time being guaranteed as long as she shows a worthy effort of hunting down and saving her sister. The moment that Luna shows that the well-being of her sister is not important to her, then the use of her to Jorah suddenly becomes insignificant. Or so the threat has been posed. As such, the party seeks to head east. They've currently been locating themselves in a village called Heimberg, which is up at the top of the mountains which separate all of the countries on this continent. So they head east into a territory which has become rampant and chaotic with thieves. It was once a plutocracy, a land where the rich ruled and were mighty and powerful, and it was a golden age until the last Dragon War, in which the plutocracy collapsed under the chaos of the thieves that began to run amok and take advantage of the war. And now it's inhospitable, as many would claim, due to just how dangerous the territory is. Nonetheless, Luna and the party have no choice but to head east into this dangerous territory in pursuit of the necromancer who holds her sister hostage.
I
think-
do have another choice, but
I think that about covers it. Wouldn't you all say?
That does pretty
Yeah,
well
pretty
sum
much.
it up.
Okay.
A minor footnote for those who did watch our previous campaign. As Moomin said, Jador no longer exists. Kumlier has divided into small city-states.
Right. I didn't want to get too involved with anything else that's going on because
Yeah,
this isn't a history lesson. We just
if
wanted
other
to.
parts of the world come up, we'll address them.
Right.
Okay.
But right now, the most important note here is that they've been taking peace in this village up on top of the mountain that separates the different countries, and it's been a haven for people escaping the east, escaping the chaotic lands of the brigands and bandits. But now it's time for them to. It's time for the party to take a plunge into that dangerous territory.
Oh, there is one thing that we should mention. We've recently picked up a traveler.
That being said, it's before we had a character named Regulus who was being played by Korayu, but Korayu has decided to retire Regulus, and as such is picking up his new character, San. And as it turns out, Regulus and their new companion, whom they named Bill, have decided to take different paths. As Luna seeks to head east, and as it turns out, Bill and his journey must head north. Possibly to meet again in the future, but Regulus's duty, which he swore to follow Bill and protect him and learn the truth behind Bill, forced him to head north along with Bill.
Would you say that Bill's journey is quite bogus?
It does appear to be turning out to be a bogus journey at this time.
Would it also be categorized as an excellent adventure?
It might become an excellent adventure, but we have yet to see.